So I am not the sole authority on how to sharpen anything, any tool, anything. But I do have a way that I like to sharpen my tools using the Wolverine sharpening system. Actually, this is the one. Yeah, it is the Wolverine. That's right. I did get name brand this time. So I'm going to show you how I sharpen my lathe tools, and I'll see if there's anything you can learn from that. But always remember that I am not an instructional video. This is for educational purposes only. Wink, wink. So the first thing I do is, as I want to follow this grind right here, it would be hard for me to see where I was grinding without any indication line. So I take it, and I use a marker, and I completely cover where I'm going to grind. So now it looks like that. And the reason why is that as it is on the wheel, I will test a couple of times to see where my grinding is. And if it's where I like it, I will finish making the grind. If I don't like where it is, then I adjust it. And you will see that as I finish this. I did all of them in the blue, I don't know what you're going to call it, indication marking. And I have a total of 8 tools that are going to need to be sharpened. The only one that didn't get an indicator marking is this one. And the reason why is because it's an odd grind. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Get my light on it. And I'll do this grind first, because it's the only grind I do standing up. Now while you're doing this, make sure your other tools don't fall off. There we have it. As you can see, I changed the shape a little bit. Made it a little bit pointier. I want to try something new. And yes, I got the tip a little too hot. Some of you guys will absolutely kill me in the comments about that, which is fine. But that's how I like to do my tools. Is I grind them until I'm happy with them. It doesn't matter what anyone else says, because no one else is going to use these tools but me. So now this one, because it doesn't have an odd shape and it's symmetrical, I can place on here and look, and as you can see, it only did that little tip. So that means that I need to adjust my foot and try it again. And now it did the back part. And you do this every time until you get it where you would like it. And sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't. You can hear where it's on the marker and not just metal. The cutoff tools are usually pretty easy. And a lot of the tools that use this foot are pretty easy to get where you want them. It's when you start getting into the bowl gouges that you run into issues. And see, that's perfect. You can see I was a little too close on that first one, a little too far away on the second one, and I was just right where I have that perfect strip of silver. Because I want to keep the grind that I have, because I like using this grind. And as long as you don't have your tools completely blunted, it doesn't take much to sharpen these bad boys. Doesn't take much at all. Now those were my roughing gouges. My spindle roughing gouges, if you want to be precise. And here's one of the skews that I used on the urn and on a current project I'm working on. But as you can see, it's not symmetrical. It's got an angle to it. The way you get that angle is by using a tool that looks like this. Put it on your foot, tighten her down. We are way too far away. The hardest part of this sharpening is when you lay this on, it's going so fast, it takes material away faster than you would like. So the hardest part of this grind is making sure that it's flat on the wheel here. Yes, I could get a variable speed grinder that I can slow way down. That costs more money. So, as I used to do in the old days, make do with what you got, figure it out. Something that really helps me is as you were watching, I don't know if you noticed, once I placed my hand, I never readjusted this hand because I know about what that should feel like. And so every time I came down, it would come down about where it needed to be, and it allowed me to have controlled repetition. And there is my skew. Now, as you can see, this side is shorter than this side. So I need to go back, which means that it's no longer even. So I need to go back in and try to even that out. Now, it's far from perfect, but it's better than it was. And it'll do exactly what I needed to do, which is cut wood. So, see where all that blue is? This is a bowl gouge. And I use what is sometimes called an Irish grind. It's sometimes called a swept back grind. But there's this grind, a fingernail grind, and a micro edge grind. I prefer this one. It's worked for me. I've tried other ones. I didn't like them, or I couldn't get them to work right on the grinding system I have. So, for this, what you do is you add this little contraption. It's called a vari grind, meaning variable grind, and it allows me to move this in a way that just this foot would not. And this goes a lot closer. And whatever you do, guys, if you do grind tools, don't drop your tools. It's a good way to destroy them. It's a good way to make sure that that edge is going to take a lot of grinding to repair. I've dropped tools, and I absolutely regret it. Now let's show you how this one works. There we go. I hit the tip a little more than I wanted to, but it's definitely sharp. And it'll get me where I need it to be on the wood. There we go. These need a lot less touch-up because I use these a little less than I use my rough and gouge and my skew, which I don't think is very typical. I know a lot of people like their bowl gouges and they like to use them for everything from roughing to shaping to everything. I don't use my bowl gouges as much as some people do. The last step I only do with my bowl gouges. Now, yes, there is a burr from the grinding. On my roughing gouges, I don't mind that because it's a roughing gouge. It's going to get beat up. It's going to get tore up with use because I'm usually doing odd-shaped pieces. These, I don't want to have a burr on there because I want them to cut as smoothly as possible to leave as little edge grain as possible, or as much little tear out as possible. So I'll put it on a hard surface. Being a leather worker as well as a woodworker, I always have scrap pieces of leather laying around. You can put some polishing compound on here. I don't. I just put it in the channel and I go down with it. Sometimes you gotta squeeze the leather really good. Make sure it gets all the way down in there. And then I just travel down with it. And that gets rid of the burr, and now it feels even sharper than before. Same thing on my bigger gouge. Always be careful of your fingers, because sharpening your tools makes them very sharp, needless to say. There's bowl gouge number 2. And the last one. Don't do that. Bowl gouge number 3. Now, I am not the definitive answer for sharpening tools. By far. I just learned how to sharpen tools not too long ago, a year ago or so. Funny thing is, I actually got my lathe before I even learned how to sharpen the tools. So definitely something that I could definitely be better at. But that is a simple, easy way to get your tools at least sharp enough to use them. And that's what we're going for. We're going for the chance to use our tools. So, thank you for watching. Always remember, if we're going to change the world, we got to be sharp so we can change ourselves. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching this short video.